Welcome back, everyone. We have Kyle Carter from Bodysnatchers with us. How are you doing?
Great, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. You guys just released that new record. How's that been? Like, did everyone get the response that you wanted with that?
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. It's been nothing but good comments. I think the only like slightly bad comment was how good the mix was and that they liked like our older mixes because they didn't sound as good.
It's,
So if that's a negative, then I'll take it.
it's
But
not.
other than that, like it's just been all like nothing but positivity. Lots of people have been saying that it's a no skip record, and that's what we were going for. We're going for just 10 tracks, no intros, no interludes, no nothing. Just crazy songs, 10 in a row if we could, and hopefully we did.
What's crazy is so this is your guys' fourth full length, and I know you guys are a very personal band. What does Hell is Here, Hell is Home mean to you personally?
To me personally, I kind of had that theme in the back of my head going into it. And I started the lyrics for the final song where the album name came from. So it kind of I'm a little bit more attached to it than the other guys, I would say. Um, I don't know as far as what it means to me. I'm not really sure. I mean, I think it just weighs heavily on all of us, really. It's just people suck. The world kind of sucks. And sometimes you catch yourself falling into the same patterns that you don't like that other people do, and you're as much of the problem as much as everyone else. And that's why it's like it just sometimes it just feels more like you're you're welcoming it more than anything. So I think that a lot of people can relate to that feeling. So I thought it was important to include.
With you talking about it like that, and with you talking about it like that, do you have any favorite lyrics on this record that you wrote, or even Medina or any of you guys?
Um, hmm. I really I feel the closest to Violent Obsession, I would say. That song kind of came from having talks with my wife about like her previous relationships and stuff like that, and just like abusive people in general. So that one just kind of came from a personal place to begin with. So that one I would say I'm the most connected to. I know Chris would say his would be May Your Memory Rot, because that one is the only like direct lyric about like a specific person, which is his it's about his dad. So I know he would say that. Um, Other than that, I think a lot of the songs just have to do a lot with like revenge and getting revenge in general and not taking shit from people. So with that in mind, the whole album really is pretty close to me. It's nice to get all of those emotions and like words out there, you know.
Right. And you've had this out for a couple days now. Has any of your fans written you and been like, man, this just hits home to me so much. Like, I feel exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, I think it has connected with quite a few people. We tried to write these songs a little bit differently than we have in the past. Usually we write pretty direct, like that, like this is what this song is about. But on this album, we kind of tried to write more broad so it would reach more people. And I think it's working so far. I know it's only been a few days, but a lot of people have been saying um, stuff like what you mentioned, like that it does mean a lot to them and that it makes perfect sense to them and it resonated with them. So yeah, all good so far.
And like with bands like Cryptopsy and stuff like that, they like to write on the road. Are you guys one of those bands that write on the road, or do you guys write separately? Or I know from the past from interviewing you guys like kind of go to like a house, like it feels like it's grandma's house for you guys, because that's what we talked about
hmm
last one. Did you guys do anything differently with this one, like writing
Um,
wise?
well, not really. Well, actually, yeah, we did change it up a little bit towards the end of like the demo process. So what we usually do is I start at my house and I'll like start the songs and do all like the demoing. and get it to a place where they're as put together as they can be. And then the difference with this one is we were able to all meet kind of halfway in Florida when we all still live here. There's a few of us that don't live here anymore. But while we were writing, there was like a good middle point that we were meeting up at, and we were able to set up like a little studio space in that area. And we would meet up every Monday for like, I want to say it was like a month or maybe a little over a month. Um, and we would all be together on the computer with like the demos, and we would pick them apart together. And that was, I think, a little bit better for the overall um, product. I know at the studio, like when we actually went to the studio, that part was the same where we take apart all the demos anyways.
Right.
But I think it made the difference for sure. All being together and like doing the final touches together.
And from the demoing process to the recording process, did much change, or did you guys kind of keep everything exactly the same, or did you see anything, dude, this could be a little different here and switch it up?
Yeah, so we actually have like a 45-minute like documentary type video coming out that our photographer was she was with us while we recorded, and she was able to put together like a whole documentary, and it shows like we would get to the point where we're like placing lyrics onto the song, like vocal pattern structures and everything. And then you'll be able to hear that and it's completely different than the final song. So we would get to a point where we're about to track vocals and then we would be like, let's actually rewrite all these lyrics, but from this point of view instead. Like this same topic, but like completely redo them. So we would highlight everything, delete it all, and start over. Just because we wanted everything to be perfect, and if I don't know, sometimes it just wouldn't be rubbing one of us the right way, and especially Will, he's a really big perfectionist, especially with lyrics. So a lot of that would be him saying, I've heard this too many times. Let's delete that, or you guys already said this in this song, so let's try a different angle or this or that. So yeah, a lot changed lyrically on the album with what we came in with versus what we came out with. Musically, we went in with 15 demos,
Mhm.
and we came out the other side with 10 songs. So we took out five songs, took riffs from some songs and put them in other songs, and switch stuff up like that. There was I don't think there was many songs that changed like drastically. I think there were some songs where just a lot of the fat was trimmed,
Right.
and things were just kind of made more cohesive.
With you talking about Will Putney, one of the greatest people in the industry, honestly, writes with everyone, records with
Hmm.
everyone. From your time in Bodysnatcher, you guys have done a few with him already. Have
Hmm.
you brought what he showed you to your writing, and how is it different compared to how you used to write?
Um, he doesn't really change much. Like he doesn't write any actual riffs or anything. Like he doesn't ever take the guitar and like say, "Hey, do this." Like, "Here, I came up with this riff. Do this." He never does that. So I I really appreciate that part of it because I'm pretty like particular with riffs and breakdowns and just song structure in general. So it's really cool how he does it. He'll just say like, I think we should get rid of this part and do something like this. And then I'll like start playing and messing around with stuff. And I'd be like, how about this? And he'd be like, sure, let's try it. And then we'll record like a little scratch version of that part to see how it feels and et cetera, et cetera. So I think his process gives me more room to be creative. So it still sounds like Bodysnatcher and not like Will Putney.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And with you talking about having, because you, like you said, you had 15, you guys went to 10. Do you have any plans to use those other five songs on something else? Or maybe just like, because I know a lot of bands like dropping singles randomly. Do you see you
Hmm.
guys doing that in the future to break up the space of having a new record come out in like a year or two?
I haven't even listened to those five songs since before. Like I kind of just deleted them from my brain.
Yeah.
After this next tour with the Chaos and Carnage tour that we have coming up, after that tour is when I'm going to start writing again already. So maybe I'll open those songs and see what we did and didn't use already.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. Sometimes I'll go back years, like as far as my hard drive on my computer will let me go to like old stuff that never got used. And sometimes I'll use stuff from that.
Right.
So it's just like it's one of those things where I won't know till it's time, you know. I'm gonna be writing nonstop for the next probably year, getting ready for whatever's next for us already.
And with you saying you scroll all the way back to as far as you can, with this
Mhm.
new record, did you use any old riffs that are like 10, 15, 20 years old for you?
No, nothing quite that old, but there was a song or a riff that I was like 100% married to for Vile Conduct that didn't make it onto Vile Conduct, and I was really like upset about that. So I was like, I'm gonna try it again on a new song and see if it makes it this time, and it did. And it's like the main like repeated two-step riff in Violent Obsession
Nice.
that was supposed to be in Murder 8 originally. But it just we already had like several two steps in that song and at the time he was like, there's just too many. We have to get rid of some of these two steps because you're doing too much. So, but that riff in particular, I was just like super in love with. So I just kept trying it and kept trying it with every song I was working on. Um, I think the oldest song, like going all the way back to our first album with this lineup, the album This Heavy Void.
Mhm.
That one, the song 1217, that whole song was a really old song that was supposed to be used for like my first band that I was ever in. We went through like a period where we were pretty much not a band anymore, and I was still writing stuff, and I would send it to our old vocalist, and he didn't like any of it.
Hmm.
And then when I joined Bodysnatcher, I went back to that song, and I was like, you know what, I'm using this song. And then Chris heard it, and then Chris was like, move over, I'm gonna start doing some stuff, and he like kicked me off of the computer because he had like idea after idea after idea. And then that's how 1217 was kind of born, is a super old song from I think like 3 years before we even used it.
Wow.
So I've never used anything like 10 years old or 15 years old, you know, but 3 years is a lot in writing years.
Especially with how much you guys write, because you guys kind of stay consistently with dropping music, honestly. It's you don't
Hmm.
stay too well off where it's like people do 3, 4 years. You guys kind of stay consistent with trying to do
Yeah.
it every year and a half, I say.
Yeah, we try to stick to like the 2 year thing, but we did something different with Vile Conduct since it was just an EP. We
Right.
stretched it out over like an entire year where every song was kind of its own single. And then like oh yeah, about a year after the fact, we finally like dropped the actual like pre-orders and everything. So that I think helped us just to stay relevant. We kind of did the same thing over COVID where we just kept putting out singles, and we put out like 3 or 4 singles over, you know, however long COVID was, felt like forever. Um, but yeah, we had just came out with like a full length, and then COVID started and we couldn't tour off of it or anything. So we just kept putting out songs to stay in front of people
Right.
as much as we could. But other than that, like as far as records go, like full length albums, we try to stick to the 2 year thing. That's pretty standard. Bleed Abide came out 2022, I believe.
I think
I
so.
don't know. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Because I
Um,
know 24 was a Vile Conduct.
yeah, and then
That
24 was Vile Conduct, 26 is this one.
right.
Yeah.
And with you talking about how you guys would go in the studio and kind of like redo like, oh wait, not with lyrics basically.
Mhm.
Did any names change from then to the final process?
Song names, I kind of came up with those after we were already out of the studio. When we got out of the studio, they were just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nice.
Um, And I like I think this is a pretty normal thing for us at least where we don't come up with the song names or album name or anything until we have the album because we don't know what it you don't know what it is until it's done, you know. You don't know what the feeling or the vibe of it is as until it's done. So for me, that's just the best way to make sense of it in my own head. So yeah, I we were in the van because we started a tour right after the uh the studio. So in the van, I was like coming up with song titles, album titles, and we were all just kind of deciding based off of that in the van all together.
Right.
Hmm.
And we're talking about like having like a whole thing like one, two, three, four, five,
Hmm.
you guys are a band that kind of like to tell a story, kind of puts it all into place. How many track listing orders did you guys have before you guys settled on this one?
That was another one that I had my iPad out in the van and I was reorganizing them. Like there was a few like we knew The Maker was going to be song 1.
Mm.
We knew Hell is Home was going to be song 10, and I really wanted No Savior to be somewhere in the middle just because it has like that kind of it's got like a clean intro, so it has like kind of a break point where you can kind of breathe for a second. So it just felt more like in the middle. But other than that, it was a blank slate until after we were already out of the studio. So in the studio, I think the order that we were like recording and tracking them in were just the order that they were written in. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. I was just gonna say, so we didn't have to go like back and forth a bunch of times with like the final track listing. It just kind of we put it in order like once or twice, I believe, and then that was the final.
Dang, that's actually not that bad. I've heard people
Hmm.
be like, "Oh, we go in the car, we listen to it. Oh, this doesn't work. Go switches it, do a new CD, goes in the car.
Hmm.
So that's not bad actually.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. As far as like movies and like media, like other types of media. I don't know if I'm the same as other people with this, but whenever I hear like an awesome quote, I'll like pause the movie and type it into my notes and like timestamp it. And because, you know, there's always more room for cool samples and stuff like that, even if it's for live purposes only. But I don't know about actually inspiring like the songs themselves. um, if they had, then I'm drawing a blank on it. But as far as like movies and stuff like that, I just kind of the only thing that comes to mind is for like samples.
Right. And with you guys doing another tour, you guys have endlessly toured. Do you guys plan to have a few set lists to try to move the set around with these new songs so you play at least a few of them compared to playing one or two?
Yeah, we're gonna on the next tour, we're gonna be playing, I believe, 4 of the new songs.
Nice.
Um, so that we're working on our drummer's working on it today, actually.
Oh,
He's putting the set all together and reorganizing the order of everything. We're bringing back another really old song from when we all first joined in 2018. Um, so it's from Death of Me. We're bringing one of those tracks back. Um, Playing, yeah, like I said, 4 new ones, and I'm not 100% sure on what the order is of them yet, but I'm told it's gonna be awesome.
And with going into a tour, you're gonna have to relearn the song from 2018, like you're talking about. What's your process of relearning old music from back then?
Um, I still kind of have it just stored away. It's a lot of those songs, especially this one that I'm referring to, is it's just all muscle memory because we played it a lot back then. Um, there are some songs that I do have to like listen to the raw guitar track, or if we have tabs, then I'll go back and reference tabs. But usually I just kind of can remember it. Yeah.
And with touring so frequently, I like to ask bands too, like, they like to switch it up a little bit, do a different riff here, do a different solo. Do you do anything like that live so you can keep it fresh for yourself?
Um, I do change very slight things. And when I do them, it's planned ahead of time. because we play with a click track and everything, and we have a tracked guitar as well because I'm the only guitar player. So we have another tracked guitar playing. So anything that I change on that guitar as well to make sure it complements it. Um, and I retrack all of that guitar so it's still like technically live. It's not like heavily edited. So it still feels like there's another guy up there with me. Um, but there is like a thing that we do before King of the Rats where we all kind of ring out before it starts. And there's other stuff that we've done in the past where we kind of like slow certain things down. Or hmm, I think that's honestly it, really. There's different like pinch harmonics that I'll do, just like very slight little things. Like I'll do a different pinch harmonic than what's on the album and stuff like that, you know. Nothing like crazy. I can't really play solos, but I wish I could.
It's okay though. I mean, you guys are a crazy band live, honestly. With
Thank you.
that being said, like you guys are talking about playing with well, clicks in your ears and like,
Hmm.
is there, you never know as a musician, as myself, you never know when you're gonna mess up live. Can you tell us a time you messed up live and had you had to recover?
Um, yeah, I I guess I mean, everyone has little slip ups every once in a while where you're kind of like off in your own world and then you kind of forget where you are for a second.
Mhm.
But luckily, I don't know. It's just with the click and everything else in our ears, you just can kind of catch it and get right back on time like nothing ever happened. I know with Chris, our drummer, if he ever like severely messes up, I guess that's like worst case scenario for us. But as long as the drummer is still going, we can usually come in and out and be pretty seamless about it. Even if like Kyle Medina misses like a vocal cue or comes in like slightly late, we're all so locked in that like we won't miss we won't miss like the downbeat, you know.
Right. And I saw Medina was going outside on I don't know if it was your last tour, but going out asking fans what like kind of what they want to say like during the breakdown. Were any of those like a favorite to you that he said?
I liked the first few the best. And then we started hearing like everyone started asking for the same
Oh.
like mosh calls every day. So it was one of those things where it was like it got kind of old, kind of fast. But the first couple were really funny. Crap, I can't even remember. The first one was like I'm old, I don't know what a mosh call is, or something like that. And that one did like really well on like Instagram and TikTok and all that. And um, yeah, I liked those first couple that he did the best, I think.
They're pretty cool. Honestly, you don't really see bands do that, so that was really interesting to do something a
Hmm.
little different. Like you said, you're bringing four new songs to this set list. Is there any like lyrics you're excited to hear?
Um, on our last tour in the UK and in Europe,
Mhm.
we played The Maker for the first time, and a lot of like the crowds were already screaming the words for that. So I'm really excited to see how it is in the States. I'm really excited to hear the things like the lyrics that people will like already know from the album.
It's gonna be interesting. And you guys
Hmm.
had Scott from Terra on
Hmm.
Survival or Die. What was the process of picking him? Like, what made you guys go with him?
So yeah, our bass player wrote that riff, that two-step riff that his part is on. And as soon as he wrote that, and then I like turned it into a two-step. It was originally more of like a thrash riff. And as soon as we all sat together on one of those Mondays that we were able to get together on,
Mhm.
and we were like, all right, this is a sick ass riff. And then we all were just like, what if what if uh what if Scott from Terror was on this? And then we were all immediately like, yeah, let's have our manager ask him. And then our manager did, and then he was just like, yeah, I'll do it. And we were like, cool. That was easy. So
Okay. That sounds
it just kind of all clicked and happened and it was great and it turned out awesome.
is there like another artist, even if you brought like even a guitar player that like kind of works with you on a song, is
Mhm.
there anyone you would love to collab with on another release of your guys's?
I think like my dream collab, I don't know if it would even turn out good, but it would be like the original guitar player for The Devil Wears Prada. His name's Chris Ruby. And I don't know what it is. I know they never played anything like crazy. Uh, but he was just always my favorite guitar player, and I really liked how he wrote their older songs.
Right.
And I don't know if it would turn out good for Bodysnatcher, but I would love to collab with him one day. But I don't know. He's kind of out of this world now, out of like the music world entirely, from what I gather. Um, but for a vocal feature, I still really want Phil from Whitechapel.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Um, who else? I think Jeremy from A Day to Remember would be really cool. I think his like low vocals are really sick sounding for like heavy music. I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head. We don't really do features too often, but when we do, we really try to get like people that we all really love, not just someone that's gonna do the band a favor or something.
Right. I think it'd be cool to have Darius. Honestly, him and Medina are two of my
Yeah.
favorite vocalists in the deathcore world right now.
He did a song on the band's like first full length. I
Hmm.
forget what the name of the song was because I wasn't in the band. I think it's called Death of Me. Uh I think he's on that song. I could be wrong.
So we discussed you guys going on this next tour. Is there any songs you wish you guys played more live that you guys don't play from, even from older records?
Yeah, I wish we got to play more of uh more songs off of This Heavy Void
Hmm.
and more songs off of Bleed Abide. Um, just because, like I was saying before, with This Heavy Void, COVID happened like right afterwards, so we only got to do like one tour on that album. We did try to put in more songs uh, afterwards, like whenever shows came back and everything. We tried to put in songs that we hadn't played before, and for whatever reason, like songs that people would ask for online constantly, when we finally played them, people would just kind of stand there while we were playing them. So we took them back out, and that's how it goes. And same thing with Bleed Abide. It just kind of yeah, we play the songs that we want, but we also want to play songs where people are moshing the most. That's
Right.
just the kind of band we are. We want the most like movement, the most energy. And if people are just standing there, then we're not going to play that song anymore. So it's kind of up to the people more than it is up to us.
Agreed. I mean,
Um,
it just sucks that that whole wet
yeah,
record got washed over, you know?
yeah. I think it still did really well for us. But yeah, just as far as like live stuff goes, I wish that we got a chance to play like the full album, like front to back, stuff like that. I mean, there's still a 10-year anniversary
Of
that
course.
we could probably do or something like that, I'm sure. But you know, um, other than that, we do switch it up pretty often. We try to at least. Um, but yeah, my goal for this new album is to play all the songs and to do like a full album front to back tour and like an actual like album headliner type thing. I would love to at least.
Honestly, what really drives me nuts is I've seen you guys live a million times. It's crazy how you guys aren't like a headlining band most of the time. It's you guys are mostly like, and you guys hype up the crowd one of the most. Like when you see everyone in the crowd, then you'll see them
hmm
standing around for everyone else. It would be cool to see you guys like just consistently doing headlines, or so you guys can have longer sets.
Yeah, I love headlining, but part of the whole thing is building your fan base with fans that wouldn't usually be in front of you. So
Right.
we do those like those other tours like the support tours and everything so we can get fans from those headliners, and then when we do our next headliner, hopefully those fans come to our shows. That's the whole that's the whole goal. So I don't know if only doing headliners would really help as much as I would like, but
Right.
you know, I like doing support tours as well because shorter set lists and earlier nights and everything. Everything that comes along with being a headliner is is awesome,
Right.
but it's there's also things that suck. Like, you're drained by the time it's time to play because it's like 10 p.m. or something, and you've just been sitting there all day.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
With you talking about being a support act, even a headline act, what is your dream tour lineup for yourself with Body Snatcher on there?
Um, we've kind of done so many of them. With another one is Dired as Murder. That one was always one for me. Their album Hate, it's one of the best albums for deathcore to me personally. Um, so that's one that I'm able to knock off the list. I still really want to do Devil Wears Prada. We've played some shows and fests with them, and we've gotten to like meet them and everything. But I would still like to tour with them one day. Um, A Day to Remember is always going to be one. That's always like been a big one for me. Um, we got to do Hatebreed. We got to do Dying Fetus. I would really love to tour with Terror, especially now that he's on one of the songs. That would be awesome. They're one of the greats. Excuse me. We got to do Whitechapel recently, Acacia Strain, like all the big ones. We've knocked off the list already. I wouldn't mind touring with any of them again. That would be awesome.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot left to go, but those personal ones, I guess, knocked loose. I don't know if that one would ever happen, but knocked loose would be a cool one. Kubla Khan, that would be an awesome one. Kubla Khan's like top three bands for me. Like I listen to that band almost every day.
Right. Hear me
Yeah,
out. Knock Loose, Kubakan, Body Snatcher, and Terror right there.
that
Bangers
would be
right there.
awesome. That would be crazy. Yeah,
Honestly, I think that would sell out. Let's be real.
yeah, that would be nuts. Yeah, I would love that.
A lot of injury. There'd be a lot of injuries though in that pit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
With a band that tours as often as you do, I love asking bands, what's your favorite place to eat at on tour and what's your order?
Ooh, I'm a big like food guy in general. Like I wouldn't other some people would say like a food snob, but I just like good food. I don't know. But with that being said, I don't know. I like to go to as many spots as possible, not just like one. Like not just I don't stay at like the chains. I try to like if there's a cool ramen spot around, I'll try to go to the cool ramen spot instead of like McDonald's or something. Um, so I don't know. I don't have one that really like sticks out that I'm like that I always have to go to every time I'm there, if that's the question. But I don't know. I just try to go to the best spot that that city has if the stars align for that day, you know.
Mhm.
A lot of the time the best spot is like a block away and I can just walk there because a lot of the time the venue's in like a downtown area. So I can just like walk to the best ramen spot or like the best like steakhouse spot or something. Um yeah. So nowhere like specific, but I do love food.
I'm just surprised the answer wasn't Waffle House. That's everyone's answer.
Uh,
Waffle House. I
yeah.
know I don't understand the
Yeah.
craze, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. I don't spend a whole lot of money on tour, but the money I do spend is on food. So I
Be
try to ball out a little bit.
before a tour, do you kind of go through, okay, well, you've been to a lot of these places already, but do you kind of go through and be like, well, let's try somewhere new but ahead of time and kind of mark it down so when you go to that city?
Um, at this point for like the US, we have been to a lot of the spots already. There's
Right.
still some that we haven't checked off our list. Like a big one for me is the Hard Rock in Universal in Orlando. That's a big one just because I walk past it every time I go to Universal and I'm like, one day. But um uh did a lot of the House of Blues, which I never thought that I would do. Never thought that we would be a House of Blues band, and now we play them on our own headliners. So just that in itself is so sick.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I'm just happy to be playing those big rooms, big stages. Love big stages. Yeah, I'm just stoked to be here.
And you tour so many big bands. What do you learn from them and take to your own career?
I think I take a lot of the work ethic stuff without even realizing it. Like even on my first tour ever, a lot of the people in the other bands didn't know that it was my first tour because my work ethic was just like I was just copying what everyone else was doing. And I was like, oh, everyone's getting off stage really fast. I should try my hardest to get off stage really fast. And I you just pick up little things from everyone that you tour with, whether it be like how many days do you go without changing strings? And, I picked up like a thing where I go 3 shows and then I change my strings after every 3 shows. I don't know when or where I picked that up. I think it started out at 5 shows and then four and then three. Just because, shit happens over time, different guitars over time. Um, but yeah, I think most of it is just stuff that I'm not even realizing I'm picking up from other bands,
Right.
and I'm just kind of doing it because I see that it works.
Honestly, that's smart.
Yeah.
And everyone knows you as the guitar player, Body Snatcher. Outside of music, what's something someone want to know about you or expect from you?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm kind of an open book. I mean, I think I'm kind of an open book online about like my interests and everything. Um, love video games, love movies. Uh, not big on the outdoors. I mean, despite me living in Florida, not huge on going to the beach unless my wife wants to go to the beach. And in that case, I have like a huge umbrella that I bought. I don't know, man. I'm kind of an open book. I'm also kind of like a boring person when I'm home. I just try to take all that time that I can and just relax hard.
Right.
This time we're only home for like 3, maybe 4 weeks. And this whole time I've been doing the most. I've been like putting up ceiling fans and replacing old things in our house and doing a bunch of shit that I usually don't do. So I'm like really bad at it and really slow at it. So it's taking a long time, but we're getting there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's anything about me that anyone wouldn't expect. Like, I
Right.
don't know.
And one of my last questions, you just recently got married, not even like
Mhm.
what, like a few months ago. You tour so frequently. What's one of the most challenging things, you know, being on tour all the time? It has to be that you haven't been home that long since you got married.
Yeah. We just celebrated I wasn't home for it, but we just celebrated our 1 year wedding anniversary and another birthday that I wasn't home for. So all of that stuff is hard. I try my best to send gifts and do like thoughtful things, send flowers for all those times that I'm not home for, which I think, yeah, I think for any musician that tours as heavy as we do, that's gonna be the answer, is that it's hard to be away from our significant others, be away from our families, our pets, everything that is comfortable, like our whole house, my couch. um, yeah, I think yeah, I think that would be the main one.
Makes sense. And one of my last questions, you guys just released this record. You guys have so many tours planned ahead of you guys. What
Mhm.
can we expect from you guys, 2026, 2027?
We the only thing that we're able to announce or talk about right now is Chaos and Carnage.
Cool.
That's coming up. We have some routing shows to Chaos and Carnage and home from Chaos and Carnage with 200 Stab Wounds, Gates to Hell, and Body Box.
Mhm.
So if you aren't able to come to any of the Chaos and Carnage dates, you can still see four of us, four of the 7 bands that's on the tour, um, in any of those cities. Um, Other than that, we can't really say anything. We are fully like booked up. We have like a really, really cool tour in the States at the end of the year. That's all I can say, really.
Right.
But
That makes
yeah,
sense. Well,
yeah,
thank you for taking the time and being on my podcast, dude.
yeah, of course, of course.
And I'm gonna end the interview.